All right, welcome back to the YMAO Podcast. It is episode 8. Hello, hello. My name's Joemer, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this intro is. I'm really tired again. I feel like I've been tired the past few days, and I'm just trying not to stop, I'm trying not to put my foot off the gas and trying to just keep on doing stuff. I started this podcast maybe a week or so ago, and I started it at a good time where, my knee was injured. I was staying at home, and I generally had more time to film the podcasts, or at least to have live streams and do that. And I'm feeling a little bit nervous because I want to keep the same schedule. I feel like it's been going well, and I feel like I've been having a great time, a fun time, just kind of talking and sharing my thoughts. But I go back into the city because I work in Manhattan for 3 days a week. And usually during those days, sometimes I pretty much work from like 9 to 5-ish. And then sometimes I do things after work. By the time I get home, I'm really, really tired. And that was my excuse that stopped me from streaming myself coding. I used to stream just me doing my coding sessions, and coding has been super intense recently, so I've been taking a little bit of break from like the normal 5 to 6 hour sessions that I've been doing to code on my own time. And yeah, I really want to stick to the schedule. I know that it's only 30 minutes and I know I can take it easy, but sometimes I feel like I have to perform a little bit. I feel like I have to put my best foot forward, that put all of my personality out there. I feel like if I don't make an active effort, then I won't be as personal and as genuine and authentic as I can be, because honestly the camera makes me a little bit nervous sometimes, but I know I'm just talking to you guys at the end of the day. So I'm trying to take it in strides, trying to take my time. And I also forgot my water. I was gonna get a drink of water, but it's okay. We don't need water. I'll just keep talking. I'll just keep yapping. But yeah, I really want this to work. I really want to make sure that I have a consistent schedule, to make sure that I'm able to put out episodes and to just constantly grow. And so I'm going to continue my thoughts from the last episode. Last time we started going into how and why and what my next purpose should be in life. And I'm struggling. I tried thinking about it a little bit today after work, but it has been a giant conundrum. And so I thought that this episode I would give a little bit less constructive criticism or a little bit less advice, because I guess I'm not really in an advice giving mood. I'm just more in I'm more in a place where I want to just figure this out. And so you guys get to see my thought process through like figuring these things out. I get pretty introspective, so and I've also never done this. I've never done a live brainstorming session. But yeah, so I guess the point of a purpose is to give myself direction in life, and give you directions in life as well. And I've been feeling a little bit directionless. Been feeling actually like not that I don't have any direction to go in. It's actually the opposite. I feel like I have so many directions to go in that I can't just choose one, where in the past it seemed a little bit easy for me to just choose what my purpose should be because there's only one option, right? Like when you're poor, the only option that you have is to make more money, or else you don't have money for the roof over your head and the food on the table. And even though that wasn't my prime responsibility growing up as a teenager, as I became an adult, and even while I was a teenager, it was all that I could think about. Even when I was a kid, and I didn't have the money to provide the same way that a father or mother would, I would get an allowance from my parents in middle school and high school of like $20 a week. And I was supposed to use it for lunch, and I would never use it for my lunch. I would always save those $20 because at some point in the week, my dad or my mom might need the money for groceries. And for some reason, I always had this gut feeling, or I guess maybe even had this insecurity of financial instability, and felt like I might need to save this money because someone in my family might need it. And it didn't help that there was reaffirmation or validation from my parents or my family constantly, or consistent, I'm not going to say constantly, but consistently asking for the money back or needing it for something small. And so it just kind of validated the idea that, or it kind of validated my decision making skills, and kind of reaffirmed that what I was doing was the right thing to do. So I just felt like I was always doing the right thing, thinking that way. And now I don't have to think that way. I am blessed and privileged enough to have enough resources where I don't have to think in such a scarcity mindset, and I don't have to think where resources are finite, and they are for me, but it's not as strict as saving $20 and for an entire week. It's a little bit easier than that nowadays. And yeah, I think I'm just stuck because money and finances have always been a big guiding light, kind of like a North Star to where I should be pointing my efforts towards. And it just doesn't feel as big now. There's not really a motivation or craving for me to have more. I don't want a mansion, and I don't want a Ferrari or a Lambo. And so there's a lot of materialistic things that are super expensive that some people might want, but personally for me, I don't want that. And so there isn't that craving to have more financial security, or even just more money in general, now that I think about it. And so I guess to start off, the biggest question I should probably answer is, what do I want? Like, if I don't want financial security, or more financial security, I should say, if I'm happy with the amount that I have now, then what would I want to make my life better? What would I want to give my life purpose? What direction do I want to go in? I think honestly, I feel like I don't know. It's kind of hard to decide on a direction because it feels like I'm trying to run into the sunset, and it also feels like the responsibilities I have, not to give it a negative connotation, but metaphorically, it feels like the responsibilities I have are kind of a chain on my leg. And even though I do want to run, the responsibilities kind of hold me back from exploring those options. And I don't know what options there are, or how far I can explore an option. For example, like traveling the world and forgetting that I have a job, for example, right? But I know I don't want to give up these like shackles metaphorically. I don't necessarily want to just take a hammer or a metal cutter and cut the chain and just run off into the sunset irresponsibly. I do like my responsibilities, and I do like taking care of people, but it just feels like it feels like maybe it might my new purpose might be a little bit towards self-exploration, trying to do things that entice me, that make me feel interested, and kind of brings a good curiosity to, or I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like I'm trying to find a purpose that scratches the right parts of my brain. Like I'm trying to choose things that I would be fixated on just as much as how I was fixated for financial security. Financial security was something that was tied to my survival, and psychologically, emotionally, physically was tied to who I was. And I guess this new purpose would have to be something that was similar and kind of checked off a lot of similar boxes. So I guess a good question to ask myself is, what other things in my life make me gravitate towards concepts, or makes me gravitate towards wanting to learn more about it. I think the only thing that I know I've gravitated to as much as my financial security has been people. I feel like I've always had an interest in getting to know people, wanting to get along with people, and in particular making a positive experience for people. And I don't really know how I could make that a purpose, like relationship building. I don't know if that's a purpose in itself. And honestly, it maybe it is something that I like doing. Maybe I do like building relationships with all the people in my social circle. But I think it scares me sometimes because I feel like there are certain people in my life that I feel nervous sharing things to, because I feel like if I say the wrong thing, then it would hurt the relationship more than help it grow. Which is kind of ludicrous, because I feel like sharing your thoughts with somebody anytime kind of brings a better level of compassion and understanding towards someone. But I guess it's just a normal fear, It's just normal for anyone to feel scared about being vulnerable and open about, whatever's in their mind. So I know relationship building is a place that I always need to develop. I thought about the question of having different lives, or having like different roads where I could be different things. Like if I could be a chef or a carpenter or developer, I thought about doing all those things. And even though I felt like doing all those things, they often felt like hobbies. Like I felt like learning about woodworking, or learning more about coding, or learning how to cook, all these things kind of felt like hobbies, and they didn't feel like, I didn't feel the same motivational pull that I had. But maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Maybe that obsessive motivational pull that I had with financial security was something that was super primal, and something that I shouldn't be chasing, because maybe it wasn't healthy in all the right ways. So maybe this is a good thing. Maybe I mean, not maybe. I know that I'm in a better place in life. I know that it's a good thing to be asking myself these questions that I haven't been able to ask myself because I've been so busy trying to figure out everything else. It just feels so foreign. It feels so foreign to... Also, I don't know why I have these headphones in. I'm not listening to any music. Whoops. But it feels so foreign to think about all of these things. I guess, like, think about all of these different ways of life that aren't needs, you know? Like, I don't need to be a chef, and I don't need to learn how to do woodworking, but it's just more about having fun, challenging myself, and growing to be more well-rounded, right? So I think I have to keep that in mind as I continue to kind of brainstorm my new purpose, that maybe it's going to feel different, and it's going to be different than what my past goals and ambitions used to be, which was that I had to do it. I had to make whatever this is work, and that I don't have this like toxic relationship, I guess, with my future goals and ambitions. Thinking about it now, it maybe wasn't healthy to have like this do or die moment all the time, and maybe I am a little bit drawn to the stress and the anxiety and the pressure that comes with it. And if I'm being honest, it has been, I think that's what's been bothering me the most about my life right now. It's just very quiet, and it's very peaceful, and it feels like this is all just too good to be true. It just feels so insane to me that my life has literally been flipped upside down. The table has been thrown, has not been just flipped upside down like in the room. The table was thrown out the window, and it feels like I don't have a table anymore. It feels like I'm eating my food on the ground. It feels like I don't have a place to even put my food. It's just, I feel like the table was thrown out, and now I'm learning how to build a new one, and I'm learning how to build a sturdier table, and a table that could host more people, and a table that can have more food, right? Like, there's more room for me to have more in my life, and I'm just trying to do it right. Like, I know that wherever I go from here, I'm gonna have a great life, but I want to make sure that I use my time properly, that I use my time in a way where I enjoy the process, because I feel like that's the reason why I've been able to grow so much. I feel like the reason why I was able to push myself so hard and not fall under the pressures of all of the mental ailments that can happen when you push yourself to a high degree is because I always had this purpose in the back of my mind. Like, why, like whenever I ask myself, like, why am I doing this, or this is getting too hard, I don't want to do this anymore, there was always that reason in the back of my head that told me, you're doing the right thing, just keep on pushing through, because this is like the right thing to do for yourself. Like, it's not just right to do for the people around you, it's right to do by you. And maybe I owe it to myself to follow different passions. And maybe I should be telling that to myself a little bit more, right? Maybe I should be trying to maybe I should be trying to tell myself more that I deserve a lot of different things, and to be okay with a lot more. I think, okay, I feel like I'm getting somewhere. I feel like I've been shutting myself off to the things that I deserve a lot. I've been shutting out a lot of different things when it comes to my friends, my family, and myself. I think I'm giving people too little credit, and I don't necessarily trust that people will do the right things. Even if I deserve it, and I think I deserve it, I feel like whenever I'm given something I deserve, like someone does something nice for me, it feels like it's always followed up by something bad that happens, right? So every good thing that happens, it often feels like shit hits the fan way too quick, and it ends up kind of nullifying it out. And I think that's why I have my guard up when it comes to trusting people and being okay with saying that I deserve things, because it just hasn't been easy. I think that I definitely have to grow a bit more, to be more vulnerable and to be more open. I'm wondering if that is the right thing that I need to do. Like I'm wondering if it's enough to say that my purpose right now is to have a better direction in my self growth, to grow to be a person that is more well rounded. It just feels weird. It feels weird for that to be a goal, because I am I think that's the problem. I think that I'm happy with the way that I am right now, but I think that I'm also not being honest about who I am. Like I think I'm happy because I came from a place where things were a lot worse, and so the place where I'm at now is a lot better than who I used to be in the past. But that's not really saying much, because it just means that in the past I was an even worse person, and now I'm like I'm a little less worse, you know? It doesn't mean that I'm actually a better person, or I'm an okay person, or I'm a good person. And some people in my life will disagree with me, but I feel like I have a lot of room to grow. And I feel like I have a ways to go to be more vulnerable. And I think at the end, I want to have a life where, at the bare minimum, I have my friends and family around me. And I think that I haven't been doing a good job of that. And so I guess my purpose for now isn't necessarily to be happy, because chasing that emotion ended in a very bad way, as you can tell from the last few episodes. I think that my purpose is going to be to something about having friends and family in my life, but that seems a little bit, it gives me direction, it makes me feel good, but it just feels a little bit too simple. I guess it's also as simple as my last goal, which was to gain financial stability, but I guess it doesn't feel as challenging. It feels more like maintaining, and I want things to grow. So, um, I guess a good way to go would be that my purpose is to grow my relationship with my friends and family, um, to make memories with them. I think that my purpose for now, I got it. My purpose right now is to feel close to my friends and family. I feel like a lot of past actions have made me more distant from people, and I know that there's still some fire in all my relationships. I feel like, I've built something with all these people, and I know that I want to be closer with these people. And in order for me to be closer with my friends and family, I not only need to let them into my life, but I also need to learn how to bridge the gaps between my social circles. And also, for me to be closer to them, I need to feel like I can be myself, and I can have the freedom to be myself with all these people around me. And I don't feel like that right now. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. I feel like I'm not honest with them as much as I could be about my feelings, or to even communicate things in the right way, because sometimes I don't communicate things in the right way. Sometimes I say things rudely, or don't say things in a way that they can understand. And I think it's just all I think it's a good purpose. I think it's a good purpose, and I feel like it helps me grow as a person, and me it helps me go towards a goal that I really want, which is eventually to feel loved by the people around me. Like, I know that they do love me, but I feel like sometimes I don't feel it because I just kind of push it away, or I don't think about it, or I worry about work and things like that. I think it's a good goal, and I think it's a good purpose because it is pretty everlasting. I think that'll last me the rest of my lifetime, and hopefully it does, because this goal that I made, it I thought it would take my lifetime to reach financial security, and it took me a pretty, like, I'm 27, so it took me like 27 years of my life, and I have hopefully another like 3 quarters to go, right? So it just feels like this is a good goal, and it's centered around who I am, because I've always been like very family oriented, and I feel like I have to bring that part more out in me, because it's very close to who I am, and it's very much who I am. It's it's just why I always do things, I think. I think that's what I'm learning, that it may not always be my purpose to focus on my family, but the reasons why I do things happen to always be for my family and friends, like the people that are around me, because it's like the people that matters to me, not really like all the resources I have and things like that. Like, I want to be able to have good memories with people, and I think in general I'm not doing a very good job of that, and I think I could do a better job. And it's a great goal for me because I'm always super super busy, and so I kind of have to take the time out of my day to plan these things. I have to take the initiative, because like it feels like everyone knows I'm busy, and that's why they don't really message me, and they're trying to respect my privacy. And even sometimes people do take the initiative, and I kind of like push them off anyway, and so people kind of have conditioned themselves to not really ask me um, across the board, unless I ask first, right? And that's my fault. um, I think I want it that way because it allows me to do what I want, when I want, and how I want to do it. I really like the freedom to be able to initiate things when I'm free, and that way I don't have to say no as much to people or feel bad. But I think if that is the life I want, then I also need to just really show off my leadership, and I need to be okay with being a leader and taking the initiative and going after what I want, and being honest and open, and all these things that are super super important. So yeah. um I need to write this down. I need to write this all down. Okay, my new purpose is to be closer to my friends and family. There's so many intricacies that come with that, and it feels good. I think it does feel good. I have been purposeless for a little bit of time, like maybe the past 3-4 months, and I've been struggling to figure out, why I do things or what I'm trying to do. In particular, the past 2 months, I would say. And it feels like I'm finally moving again. It feels like I don't really. Sometimes I used to create these goals where I felt like I needed to wrap my head around things, and it felt like I was just trying to convince myself that I should be doing something. But this particular one makes me feel like it feels like it resonates a little bit with me. It feels like I need to write out these thoughts to really like flesh it out, to know that this is the direction that I want to go in. But I think for the life that I want, like I say a lot, I don't know what I want in my life, but I know that I want friends and family around me. And when I think about that and I think about the memories, I really do think of everyone kind of being closer together, or as close as they can. And even if they're not close, to at least respect me enough, or to feel close enough to me where they're they're happy to just be there because they're there for me. And sometimes I feel like that's hard to ask for because people's emotions can be all over the place. But I think I just need to do a better job of just communicating that with people and trying to make it all work. My life is my social circles are all a mess right now, and I honestly have been letting people do their own thing, and I think in the process I've kind of just been making my own life harder, and I feel like I've been kind of just taking into account how other people would feel and dismissing my own feelings, and how much easier my life would be if I just allowed these circles to mix together. And I think I've been scared to do that, and I think I'm going to try to make it all work more. um, I think it starts with, at the bare minimum, getting closer to all these people and really understanding them more than I feel like I do. I feel like I've kind of been taking more of a logical approach and kind of like trying to analyze how people act, and maybe I should just lean into my emotions a bit more and kind of just understand people from a deeper perspective, and kind of understanding who they are as a whole, and just getting to know them and enjoy time with them. And maybe that might be enough for me to build relationships in a more wholesome and genuine way. So, yeah. It feels like a big task. It feels like something that's going to take a while, and hopefully I will be able to do that. I always say that the way you know that a dream is a good dream or a purpose is a good purpose is if you feel like you don't know if you can achieve it or not. Some may say that even a better goal would be if you feel like it's impossible, but personally, I like to set purposes and goals in that kind of like gray area, that in between zone, just because oftentimes you'll feel less doomed, like you'll feel less of this sinking feeling that you'll never reach it. And the the goals and ambitions in a gray zone are nice because you'll often get this push and pull effect where sometimes you may get a little bit closer and you'll feel that push towards your goal and that dopamine, and sometimes you'll fail and you'll pull away. And it's kind of like a good way to kind of take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And it's just a good way to, for me at least, it has been a good way to just think about progressing in life, because life is always going to feel like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But as long as you're making progress, it's a good thing. I think I've been a little bit too complacent in how I've been around people, and I need to like put myself more out there, starting with my friends and family, and just getting to spend more time with them. I definitely need to do that a bit more. So yeah, this was a pretty loaded episode. I'm sorry that there hasn't been much advice in it. I don't think it's been a giant brainstorming session, but hopefully this helps you kind of, hopefully the thought process while you were kind of listening to me, you started to maybe think about your own purpose in life and we're thinking about repurposing it. Or if you're like me in your mid-20s and you've had a quarter life crisis, then maybe this also helps you to think about your own purpose and maybe to just see how somebody kind of figures it out for themselves and the questions that kind of come along with that. So thank you guys for coming and for listening to me yap. If you want to either fall asleep or learn something new, then feel free to subscribe for another podcast episode so you guys can see this live or after I end the stream and you can see the whole video. It all gets saved to the channel so you could always watch it later. And other than that, thank you for coming and have a good night. Bye.